ANC Deputy Secretary-General Jessie Duarte penned an opinion piece targeted at the Zondo Commission, in which she says it is concerning that democratic centralism is the subject of a commission led by a judge who, with respect, practices his craft based on the narrow parameters of existing laws. She continues to say that one can only hope that the Zondo Commission is not going to turn our democracy into more of a neoliberal concoction than it already is. And also adds that, of course, there are those who misunderstand what democratic centralism is and what political structures in multi-party democracies actually operate like. Joining me now to talk about this is political commentator and law professor Richard Calland. Richard, good to have you with us. Of course, this essay, I don't know whether it coincides with the testimony that you were giving as well, but I suppose it also speaks to all the testimony from the various chairs of portfolio committees who have appeared at the Commission of Inquiry. And of course, much of what we've been looking at is the question of oversight and whether or not it is effective as far as Parliament is concerned. You've got the executive, right, who essentially should be the ones who uphold the Constitution, do the right things, show us what it is supposed to be like to be constitutional. When they fail to do that, you've got Parliament that's supposed to hold them accountable to say, no, this is the way. And when that fails, then you've got the judiciary. But what has been happening now is that the executive and Parliament have been failing in their duties, and we end up having to have commissions, having to go to the judiciary to come up with decisions on what is right and what is constitutional and what should be done. Now the DSG comes out and says, well, you people are talking law. You don't understand democratic centralism. Is she correct?
Well, Thabo, thank you very much. Thank you for putting the context so well, because this is an issue that could appear to be rather esoteric and irrelevant. But actually, to my mind, it goes to the very heart of our democracy. What sort of democracy do we want in South Africa? And do we want Parliament and institutions such as Parliament to be able to exercise their constitutional functions in service of people? Jessie Duarte's article is an attack upon that approach. She effectively says that the party, in her case the ANC, is more important than the institution. I would argue that she doesn't intend this, but I would argue that in effect she's saying that the party is more important than the people, and that therefore the people's representatives should be loyal only to the party and not to their duties to the Constitution and to the people who elected them. So this is a really fundamental debate. I'm glad in a sort of perverse way that Ms. Duarte has written this piece, because it's attracted a lot of tension and it's attracted a lot of anger. And I think progressive Democrats are responding to it and saying that this is a despicable attempt to distract from the Zondo Commission's purpose, even an attempt to derail it, and really an attempt very late in the day to attempt to cover up state capture and the ANC's role and failures with regard to state capture.
Yeah, I suppose in a way it also speaks to the whole electoral system in South Africa and how it works, right? So we vote for a political party, and she, of course, is a part of that political party. They, on the other hand, are elected representatives of the political party, which are not voted for, by the way, by all of society, but they are voted for by the members of the African National Congress. Now, she says, well, we have that mandate as the party, and we send people to go and be parliamentarians. When they are there, they are supposed to represent the interests of the party. More than one would say, judging by what we are hearing from the Commission, proper governance, more than one would say the law, right? As long as the party says this is the party line, those people who are there must respect the party line, or else, well, that is an onslaught on those who voted for us.
So the electoral system is now in the spotlight, because the electoral system, as you rightly explained, Thabo, means that we vote for a party and not for an individual. But once that individual goes to Parliament, it's clear that they have a duty to the Constitution, and the Constitutional Court has said that when they are sworn in, they're swearing an oath of allegiance to the Constitution. Now, where I would agree with Ms. Duarte, the one point on which I'd agree with her is this one. She says that when a party is seeking to execute its manifesto, having been elected into government, then that party has the right to expect that members of that party in Parliament and outside Parliament will remain loyal in the execution manifesto, because otherwise the will of the people would in fact be diminished or weakened. But of course, that is not what is at issue here. What is at issue here is where the executive completely went off the rails, completely not only failed to execute the ANC's manifesto, but destroyed the ANC's manifesto because the state was captured by a small group of venal. That's the evidence that's emerged in relation to state capture. So I fail to could possibly defend a situation which prevents, squashes any attempt by a member of parliament. And this is what happened. This is the evidence of the last week, that those MPs from the ANC who wanted to speak out, who wanted to take a stand against state capture, were basically crushed or removed from parliament and that put in a very difficult position. And if Ms. Duarte is defending that, I think she's making a very big mistake. And I think the public in general will find that a reprehensible attitude to adopt.
Another miss I'll throw at the commission, which you were a part of as well, is that the destruction of reputation is now commonplace, it seems, at the commission. What do you say to that?
Well, it's nonsense. I really fail to understand her point. The Zondo Commission was appointed, first of all, by a recommendation from the Public Protector, a constitutional body under Chapter 9. Secondly, when it was challenged by President Zuma, the Constitutional Court confirmed the correctness of that remedial action. And then the President appointed Deputy Chief Justice Zondo to lead this commission. The commission has done admirable work, have moved at the pace, with the agility that some of us might like to have seen, but it has been very thorough, and it has surfaced a raft of evidence that is of tremendous importance about how government operates, the failures of institutions, but sadly also of the extent to which state had got into the nooks and crannies of so many parts of government, undermined those institutions, undermined the will of the people, and at great expense to the public fiscus. Billions of rand have been stolen, money that could have been spent on healthcare, on housing, on sanitation, on all the things that the government is now desperately short of money to pay. So this Commission of Inquiry is an excellent piece of work. It's a demonstration of the strength of the rule of law in South Africa. And for Ms. Duarte to attack it suggests that she's not really a Democrat at all.
Richard Calland, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the Newsfeed Late Night. That is a political commentator and law professor Richard Calland.